There you go. You are our resident Spurs fan and NBA connoisseur, if you will, Patrick. What are your thoughts? Our players, going to be flocking down to San Antonio to team up with Wemby, and what kind of players will those players be? I mean, skill set wise, in terms of compatibility with Wemby.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody's. First of all, the free agency class this year is not great. It's not like there's going to be a ton of free agents. More and more teams are trying to keep guys in house and getting extensions done. The CBA's done in a way that you can usually make more money staying where you're at than leaving. So unless you're a top guy and you really want out, it's a lot harder for you to get out of your contract, and you probably aren't going to go risk it in free agency. So there's not necessarily a lot of guys in free agency that can even make the choice that will come down and make the Spurs immediate contenders next year. There's guys like DeMar DeRozan is an example of a guy who's a little bit older, has been there before, could come in. It would definitely be an upgrade for the Spurs, but it doesn't really necessarily get them that much further and that much closer to where you want to go. So, and then you look into guys that'll be restricted free agents, like how Austin Reeves was, where a lot of people are mad the Spurs didn't go out and try and get Austin Reeves. The reality was they knew the Lakers were going to match whatever they did. And, you don't necessarily want to put out restricted offers and basically shut yourself down in free agency while you wait for that response from the other team. So there's reasons why it'll be a little bit harder. But I do think there's going to be players that maybe try and, behind the scenes, maybe say, I'm not staying here. Why don't you move on? If we're not winning right now, maybe it's the best if we could change ways. I'll throw it a name, and I have no idea. This is not any rumor or anything else, but it just kind of fits into that mold of a player. Is like a Mikal Bridges, who's 27 years old. He's in the second year of a 4-year deal right now. It's a $90 million 4-year deal. So it's not huge money for a pretty good player. But it's also, he'll be wanting another contract in a couple of years. If he's in Brooklyn and says, we're not getting where we need to be, you guys need more help rebuilding. The Spurs have some picks, maybe get a young player from them and some picks, and you send me down there, I'll re-sign in a couple of years down there. That's the type of player. He fits into what they would play well with Wemby as a guy who can score, can be a facilitator, also really good defender, plays both ways on the court. Lengthy, fits in that small forward role. A guy like that would be somebody that the Spurs maybe trying to go into. And maybe, we talked about CJ Stroud yesterday going and talking to these players. Victor Wembanyama, everybody wants to be talking to him too, because that's even true. If they're not they have no intention of ever coming to the city of San Antonio. They know that Victor Wembanyama could be a free agent one day, and they'll want to play him to come wherever they are. So everyone's trying to build these relationships now anyway. You're all all-stars. You're all top players. You're all going to be at the biggest functions for NBA. So those guys, those relationships, and maybe Wembanyama tries to recruit somebody through that channel to say, go in, ask for a trade. And we had someone on the text line earlier talk about guys like Kevin Durant. Those are a little bit harder because then you're talking about a guy who's in his mid-30s, but he's making a ton of money. And you say those guys are making 45, 50 million, and they're not free agents. And the Spurs, just to make the cap room work and what you trade to get him back and how much cap space they take up when you're trying to build a team, it's probably not the best solution and probably not the route they would go. You'd love to have a Kevin Durant play there, but just in building a team, Wemby and Kevin Durant and this Spurs team probably doesn't win you a championship. So you don't necessarily want to go put all your eggs in that basket. It's why they didn't want to make the Dame Lillard trade when people are mad at them for not making that trade. But in reality, I think there's more guys, if you look around teams that are maybe underperforming a little bit and may look at the Spurs draft capital and one of their younger players that has a few more years on their contract and they may be able to get them cheaper, that may be a route they may look at this offseason rather than free agency.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I mean, I can't wait to see who they team up with Wemby and who they start building around them. That's going to be an exciting, I think, next couple of years. So they'll need to do it in the draft. But like you said, free agency, I think it's going to be interesting to see exactly who can, at least who Wemby attracts to San Antonio. Because they haven't been known for having a lot of big-time free agents. That may change now with Wemby in town. All right.